Let's see. Got the homie Richard R. Bezo. He says, "Oh, I did not think we were going to get to this today. Look at you. Look at you, Richard. All right. Okay. All right. I see you was you've been active. Okay. You've been out here on the social medias as well. You've been paying attention to what's going on." So Richard R. Bezo says this, and this is from Richard, not from me. I'm just going to react to it. Shout out to Richard. 25, in terms of 25 being DeShaun Elliott, getting heat for being right about Aaron Rodgers. Woo! Well, ladies and gents, I don't want to misquote or communicate anything half-heartedly, so I'm going to do what the real journalists do, which is pull up my notes, all right? Just an IG screenshot. Says, DeShaun Elliott on, Aaron Rodgers potentially joining the Steelers. And he says, leave his booty, or another word used for booty, begins with an A, at the retirement home. Whew. That's what a man said. He's not really he's not really a fan of, Aaron Rodgers potentially joining the Steelers, because obviously we've been hearing the rumblings about Aaron Rodgers and his availability and potentially linking him to the black and gold. Could him and Coach T coexist and all of these other interesting factors? But So this rumor's probably started, or the link between Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. I think I saw this Monday time frame, man, because me and TG were talking about it, and in fact it was on the docket for us to talk on Monday's show, but we ran out of time, and we were like, man, we'll talk about it tonight. But yeah, the DeShaun Elliott part was interesting because that's the new information that just came out earlier today. I don't know who he was talking to specifically when he did it or when he said the comments, but yeah, basically was like, man, he's good on Aaron Rodgers, man. Say he's too old, leave him home. All right. Now with Aaron Rodgers, man, he is a lightning rod of a quarterback, especially at this stage. Still very talented. Is he old? Yes. Still has a lot of those flash moments, but do you feel like it's no longer available for 17 games plus postseason run? To me, I do think it's closer to that, but I'm not completely writing it off. The flip side, is he very cantankerous? Is he very at times could be perceived as narcissistic? Yes, it's a lot of, that around him, man. He got that like pompousness, and yeah, he doesn't seem to work well with others all the time. But the dude is crazy talented, man. And you've seen him win before. You've seen him win a Super Bowl championship in Green Bay. This dude has been one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL for a long time. But we did just see him in New York / New Jersey, right? First year, obviously, he blows the Achilles out. Second year, coach gets fired, right? It becomes real disastrous to the point where he is flying out there. I guess that was also this weekend to meet with the Jet staff, or the new coach out there, Aaron Glenn. And basically they told him, a couple things, man. If you want to come back, no McAfee show. You're not going to be in control of a lot of these things. And apparently they couldn't come to an agreement. So they pretty much told, hey, man, you might as well just, head on back, hit it and get it, baby. So from there, that was obviously why Aaron Rodgers' name had first became linked to the Steelers, because, we don't have a quarterback under contract outside of Skylar Thompson, and people are still undecided on Justin Fields versus Russell Wilson. So they said, if y'all can't decide on them two, well, let's move them out the way and bring in an Aaron Rodgers, a guy that is historically proven, a guy that league-wide is viewed as upper echelon, even to a degree that's higher than what Russ has ever been viewed as. So the thought process was, if you're going to take a chance on another veteran, older, proven guy, why not go to Aaron Rodgers of all those people? So with that, we hadn't heard from any particular active players their thoughts on Aaron Rodgers. We obviously know we played against him this season. We had success and we won. But to hear DeShaun Elliott, man, speak with the conviction that he's speaking with, I don't hate it. I promise I don't. But I do think it makes it very awkward now. Because a couple of things. Number one, we know what Rodgers, man. I mean, TG, the way me and him talk, you think it's a package deal. You get Rodgers, you get Devontae. Devontae Adams come with him. That's what he thinks. So he's like, yo, if I can get that and that means that's with him, I'll deal with that because I want that too. I like that thought process, but now it becomes super awkward if you do bring Rodgers in here while DeShaun Elliott is here, because we love DeShaun Elliott on defense. I'm a big DeShaun Elliott fan on defense. In fact, at some point, I want to do a live version of a Master Moats film session. I got a couple of plays of DeShaun Elliott already chopped up. Want to just give me some time, man? We hop up here, do a live, and I'll go ahead and break down what I like about him, and specifically, man, what he was doing in that in the wildcard game versus the Ravens. Like I said, the game as a whole, we didn't have the outcome we wanted, but I thought he played dang good, man. So I did at some point wanted to do one of those live film sessions, man. I don't know if any of y'all remember. We did a couple of lives when I first started doing film breakdowns, man. It was probably 2-3 before COVID time frame, man. So I was like, you know what, man? It might be time to bring that back, man, just so we could interact while, I'm talking about the film and what I see and how I break it down, stuff like that, right? But to me, man, when you're talking about DeShaun, man, that's one of the vocal leaders. That's one of the leaders of that defense. So if you bring in a Rodgers and DeShaun isn't fond of him as a player right now, like I said, that could cause some tension in there. It definitely could. But I also think this, man, if Aaron Rodgers is to come to Pittsburgh, Aaron has to understand, man, you got to check the ego, pride, that got to stay at the door. Because that way that Coach Tomlin operates, the way that the Steelers locker room, how they do it, it's not this like separation of power where this guy is viewed as, man, he looks down on everybody else. Like, I think that that's a tough ask in the Steelers locker room. Like I said, Jets locker room may be different. Green Bay might be different, but I just don't think that would fly in Pittsburgh, man, especially with the guys here, man. But that's one of the ones that I would need to see, man. But he is very talented, and I do think you would still need to bring in a wide receiver with him. Like, I don't think because you bring in Aaron Rodgers that, oh, yeah, keep the roster as is. No. I think it's if Rodgers is here, I'm still taking the same approach as if Russ was going to be the quarterback. I am trying to load up weapons around him, and I want that Brady Buccaneers year one vibe where you're throwing to Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown, where you got 3-4 running backs you can get that rock to, man. That's the approach that I want to take with if I'm going older quarterback. If I'm going younger quarterback, obviously, we got to see some of the variables that are at play with that thing, right? But for certain with my old ones, I'm like, hey, man, because I think that they are still good enough. I just think that they need for certain pieces because they're not force multipliers to that degree anymore. Justin Fields, we feel like at times can flirt with force multiplier, but the consistency we feel like at times starts to slip when he's asked to do a lot for extended periods of times. So that's the only part with that thing, man. But man, shout out to Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to DeShaun Elliott, though. Whoo, yeah. And shout out to Richard Arbizo, man. Like I said, man, you was in the show notes, all right? Shout out to you being in the show notes, baby.